What if I told you that the people who truly control the world's money aren't presidents, kings, or even billionaires? It sounds like a bold claim, but think about this. Behind every government, every currency, and every so-called free market, there exists a hidden empire. This is an empire without borders. It has no army. Yet, it commands nations, can topple economies, and dictates the rise and fall of civilizations all through one powerful, yet often misunderstood tool: control of the money supply. It all starts with a simple, but profound question. If nearly every country on Earth is in debt, who exactly is the creditor? Who do even the world's most powerful and richest nations owe all this money to? The answer isn't a person or a single country. It's a system that was carefully designed over centuries. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand how this invisible financial empire was built, how it quietly took over global finance, and how its mechanics continue to manipulate the fate of billions of people today. To discover the origins of this hidden empire, we need to journey back centuries, to a time when money wasn't just paper or a number on a screen, but actual gold and silver. Back then, money had tangible value. But imagine the risk of storing, transporting, and securing all that wealth. It was a constant danger. So wealthy merchants came up with a clever solution. They started depositing their gold with goldsmiths, trusted artisans who had secure vaults. In return, the goldsmiths issued paper receipts, which were essentially promises that could be redeemed for gold whenever needed. It was a simple, secure system. But then, a game-changing realization occurred. The goldsmiths noticed that people rarely came to claim all their gold at once. So, they started getting creative. They began issuing more receipts than the gold they actually held in their vaults. These paper promises started circulating just like real money. And for the first time in history, money was effectively created out of thin air. This was the birth of modern banking, the exact moment when trust began to replace tangible value. As empires expanded, so did their ambitions. Wars became incredibly expensive, and kings found themselves in need of massive loans. And who had the power to create this new form of money? The bankers. This is where families like the Rothschilds and the Warburgs entered the scene. They became masters at financing governments. By strategically lending to both sides during conflicts, they guaranteed a profit no matter who emerged victorious. But their goal wasn't just profit, it was about gaining influence over entire nations. There is a famous quote often attributed to Meyer Amschel Rothschild that captures this perfectly. "Give me control of a nation's money supply, and I care not who makes its laws." This wasn't just a business strategy. It was an evolution of power. The influence shifted from kings with crowns and swords to bankers with interest rates and debt. This model quickly spread across the globe. Governments granted private banks the exclusive right to issue currency in exchange for a seemingly endless line of credit. But this system had a profound consequence. Every dollar, pound, or franc created from that point on came into existence as a form of debt. By the early 1900s, financial panics shook public trust. People demanded reform. But what emerged wasn't true reform, it was consolidation. In 1910, on Jekyll Island, a private retreat off the coast of Georgia, some of the world's most powerful bankers and politicians met in secret. Their mission? To design a new financial system that would look public, but remain privately controlled. From that secret meeting emerged the blueprint for the Federal Reserve System, the central bank of the United States. In 1913, under the guise of stabilizing the economy, Congress passed the Federal Reserve Act, but the fine print revealed a darker truth. The U.S. government no longer issued its own money. It borrowed it from the Federal Reserve with interest. And here's the twist. The Federal Reserve isn't a federal agency. It is a network of private banks with shareholders many tied to the same elite financial families that shaped Europe's banking empires. The system spread globally. Central banks, Bank of England, Bank de France, Deutsche Bundesbank, Bank of Japan, all interconnected through one invisible chain. debt? World War II left the world in ruins, but also gave birth to a new financial order. In 1944, at Bretton Woods, world leaders agreed that the US dollar would become the global reserve currency backed by gold. For a while, stability returned. But by the late 1960s, America was printing more dollars than it had gold to back them. Other nations noticed and started demanding gold instead of paper. So in 1971, President Nixon shocked the world. He closed the gold window, ending the dollar's convertibility to gold. From that day forward, money became pure debt. The dollar and every currency tied to it was now backed by nothing but faith and enforced by policy. This is the moment the hidden empire reached its full power. Because now they could create infinite money, and in doing so create infinite debt. Fast forward to today. The system hasn't just survived, it's evolved. Now, central banks no longer print paper. They create digital money numbers typed into existence. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, the World Bank, and the Bank for International Settlements, BIS, coordinate global monetary policy behind closed doors. These institutions don't answer to voters. Yet their decisions affect every economy on Earth. When developing nations need loans, they go to these lenders of last resort who impose conditions, privatize assets, cut public spending, open markets to foreign investors. It's a modern form of financial colonization. Instead of armies, they use debt contracts. Instead of occupation, they use interest rates. And here's the shocking data. As of today, the world's total debt exceeds $350 trillion. That's more than 4 times the entire global GDP. In other words, the world owes far more than it can ever repay. But to whom? To the same system that created the debt in the first place. Every time the system collapses, the same solution is applied. Print more money. 2008 proved it. When banks gambled and lost, central banks printed trillions bailing out the guilty, while citizens lost homes, jobs, and savings. And in 2020, during the global pandemic, central banks printed even more, injecting over $30 trillion into markets. Did it fix anything? No. It inflated asset prices, widened inequality, and deepened dependency on central banks. Because every fix only strengthens the empire's control. So who sits at the top of this pyramid? At the center of all central banks lies the Bank for International Settlements, based in Basel, Switzerland. It's often called the central bank of central banks. The BIS coordinates global monetary policy, acts as a clearinghouse for nations, and operates beyond the reach of any government or law. Its meetings are private. Its members are unelected. Yet they decide how money flows through the world. This right, here is the hidden empire. A network so vast and interwoven that even governments dance to its rhythm. History is repeating itself. Every few decades, the same pattern unfolds. Debt grows, gives bubbles form, gives crisis hits, gives money, is printed, gives the powerful consolidate control. And now we stand on the edge of a new chapter. Central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. If this system takes hold, every transaction could be monitored, restricted, or reversed with the push of a button. The empire that once hid behind vaults and ledgers could soon control your financial life directly. Money is no longer a tool, it's a mechanism of control. The moment debt became money, freedom became an illusion. The system thrives on ignorance. The less people understand how money is created, the more power this hidden empire retains. The cycle will continue until people value truth over convenience. Because true wealth isn't in printed paper. It's in understanding the system itself. So, the next time you hear that a country is in debt, ask yourself, to whom? Because once you see the invisible hand behind the world's money supply, you can never unsee it. This isn't conspiracy, it's history. And it's still unfolding right now. If you want to understand how to protect yourself from the next financial collapse and expose the systems designed to keep you broke, subscribe to Financial Truth Network and join the mission to bring light to the empire in the shadows.